The dog barked non-stop, scratching at the bathroom door where I had temporarily locked him just to be able to breathe. My hands trembled with anger and exhaustion. It was 3 a.m. I had been there for 5 days, and for the 100th time. I wondered how I had let things get to this point. Before I continue, tell me in the comments which city you're reading this story from, and if you've ever experienced something similar. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss stories like this one. It all started with a WhatsApp message. "Mom, I really need your help." Read the text from my son Michael, followed by a praying hands emoji. The photo he sent next showed him smiling, hugging a golden Labrador puppy. "Jessica and I are going to Cape Cod for a few days. It would only be for a week. Max needs someone to take care of him." I should have been suspicious when none of Jessica's relatives offered to help. I should have questioned the urgency, the way he insisted it would be better for me to stay in their apartment instead of taking the dog to my house in Brookline. But you know how it is. After John died 3 years ago, any chance to feel useful seemed like a gift. "Of course, son. Grandma loves dogs," I replied, trying to hide the pride of being needed again. When I arrived on Tuesday, the apartment was chaos. Dog food scattered throughout the kitchen, used puppy pads piled in a corner, a sour smell of urine permeating the air. Jessica was in her pajamas at 2 p.m. with a closed expression, frantically typing on her cell phone. "Hi, Mrs. Walker. Max is in the bedroom. I left everything written down on the fridge," she said without looking at me. "Sorry about the mess. The cleaning lady only comes next week." Michael appeared from the bedroom, already dressed to leave. "Mom, you're an angel. I don't know what we would do without you." He hugged me quickly, grabbed the suitcases, and before I could process what was happening, they were gone. The silence lasted exactly 5 seconds before Max started barking desperately. I found the puppy in the guest room, which I discovered minutes later wasn't prepared. The living room couch would be my bed for the next few days. That first night, I tried to make myself comfortable on that couch that was too hard and too small for my 71 years. Max cried nonstop, scratching at the bathroom door where I had put him to try to get some sleep. At 2 a.m, I gave up. I got up, took the puppy in my arms, and let him sleep with me. Big mistake. He peed on the couch 3 times before dawn. The next day, while cleaning another puddle of urine from the living room floor, the phone rang. It was Jessica. "Mrs. Walker, Max can't sleep on the couch. Leave him in the bathroom. He'll get used to it." "But he cries all night." "Dear, that's normal. You have to be firm. Oh, and please don't use the fan. The electric bill is already too high." I hung up the phone, feeling a lump in my throat. 95 degrees, according to the news, and I couldn't turn on a fan. I looked at Max, who was staring at me with those huge brown eyes, and felt a wave of compassion. We were both prisoners in that apartment. The days dragged on in an exhausting routine. Wake up to barking, clean pee, feed, walk under the scorching sun of downtown Boston, clean more pee, try to stop the dog from chewing on furniture, clean poop, feed again, another walk, more pee. My back ached from sleeping on that couch. My legs were covered in mosquito bites, and the food Jessica had left frozen, a sticky rice with dry chicken, gave me heartburn. At night, when I finally managed to get Max to sleep, I would call, "My friend Martha. Helen, this isn't right. You're not their maid." "But he's my son, Martha, and it's just for a week." A week that's already turned into 5 days of torture. And do they even say thank you? Michael works a lot, poor thing. He comes home late every day. And what does he do when he gets home? I remained silent. The truth is that Michael would arrive around 10 at night, pet Max for 2 minutes, say he was dead tired, and lock himself in the bedroom to play video games. I could hear the sounds of gunshots and explosions until the early hours while I tried to sleep on the couch. On the 6th day, The heat was unbearable. Max was panting nonstop, and I felt like I was going to faint. When I went to turn on the fan, Jessica appeared running from the bedroom, the first time I had seen her. "Move so quickly! Mrs. Walker, I already told you not to use the fan. The electric bill is outrageous." "But Jessica, the dog is suffering from the heat." "Max is used to it. You're the one who isn't." She turned off the fan with a harsh movement. "And please, don't touch things without asking." She didn't look me in the eyes. She spoke to me as if I were a petulant child, or worse, a disobedient maid. I felt the blood rise to my head. For a moment I thought about responding, about saying that fan would cost at most a few dollars more on the electric bill, that I was there doing a favor, that I deserved a minimum of consideration. But I swallowed my words. I always swallowed my words. That night, lying on the sweat-soaked couch with Max crying in the bathroom and mosquitoes attacking me, I made a decision. "And you? What would you do in my place if your own son treated you like an unpaid maid?" The next day, I woke up with a clarity I hadn't felt in years. Max had peed on the carpet during the night, the same carpet I'd already washed 3 times. While scrubbing the fabric one more time, kneeling on the floor of that apartment that wasn't mine, I realized I was repeating a pattern that was too old. I had always been like this, the mother who solves everything, the available grandmother, the woman who never says no. I remembered John, my husband. He always said, "Helen, you give too much of yourself. One day they'll think it's your obligation." I laughed, thought he was exaggerating. Now, with my hands smelling of cleaning products and my back aching, I understood what he meant. I picked up my cell phone and texted Michael, "Son, I need to talk to you today." The response came hours later. "I'm at work, Mom. Is there a problem? With Max?" "It's not about Max, it's about me." "We'll talk tonight, XO." Tonight, always later, always when he had time. Since when had I become the last priority in my own son's life? I spent the day mechanically taking care of Max. Food, walk, cleaning. During the walk down Boylston Street, I met Mrs. Rose, a neighbor from Brookline. "Helen, where have you been?" "How are you?" "I'm fine, Rose, taking care of my son's dog." She looked at Max, then at me. "Where are you two living now?" No, I'm just passing through. Michael and Jessica went on a trip." "Oh, good that you can help. That's what family is for, right?" "That's what family is for." The phrase echoed in my head all day. But what is family after all? Is it giving yourself without limits? Is it accepting being treated as a convenience? When did love turn into servitude? Michael arrived at 10:30 at night. As always, he went straight to greet Max, who wagged his tail frantically. Then he threw himself on the couch, my improvised bed, and sighed. "What a day, Mom. I'm dead." "Michael, we need to talk." "Go ahead." He took out his phone, dividing his attention between me and the screen. "Son, look at me." He raised, his eyes surprised by my tone. "What is it?" "I'm leaving tomorrow." The silence that followed was heavy. Michael put down his phone. "What do you mean, Mom? What about Max?" "Max is your and Jessica's responsibility. I came to help for a few days, but it's been a week already." "But we're only coming back in 3 days." "Then you need to find another solution." Jessica appeared in the living room, probably attracted by the altered tone of our conversation. "What's happening?" "My mom wants to leave." She looked at me as if I had committed a crime. "But Mrs. Walker, you promised." "I promised to help for a few days. It's been a week. I'm sleeping on the couch, eating reheated food, not even allowed to turn on a fan. This isn't help, it's exploitation." The word came out before I could contain it. Exploitation. Jessica's eyes widened. "Exploitation? Are you calling us exploiters?" "I'm saying the situation has become unsustainable for me." Michael stood up, agitated. Mom, please. It's just a few more days. I'll pay you if that's it. He went to the drawer and came back with a wad of bills. Money, as if everything could be solved with money. I felt a deep sadness. Keep your money, son. I didn't come here for payment. Then why are you doing this? Why are you letting us down? I'm not letting you down. I'm establishing boundaries. Jessica snorted. Boundaries? You're abandoning a dog. I'm not abandoning anyone. The dog has owners. You too. Mom, for God's sake. Michael was almost shouting now. What's the big deal about staying a few more days? It cost my dignity, son. The words hung in the air. Michael looked at me as if he didn't recognize me. Jessica crossed her arms, her face red with anger. You know what I think? She shot back. I think you're being selfish, cruel even. This dog needs care. And you two need to learn how to care for him. We work. I also worked my entire life. I raised my son alone after my husband died, and I never dumped my responsibilities on others. Michael tried one last card. Mom, think about it. You're going to ruin our trip. No, son. You two didn't think properly before traveling and leaving a puppy in the care of a 71-year-old woman. I went to the guest room, which should have been mine from the beginning, and started packing my things. I could hear their discussion in the living room. She can't do this. Jessica was hysterical. Calm down, honey. I'll try to talk to her again. No, Michael, your mother has crossed the line after everything we do for her. Everything they do for me. I stopped packing and paid attention. Honey, lower your voice. I'm not lowering anything. Every month we send her money. Every month. And when we ask for one favor, look what she does. My heart froze. So that's how they saw the monthly allowance that I had refused several times? As an advance payment for future favors? Michael knocked on the door. Mom, come in. He entered with a guilty face. Sorry about Jessica, she's nervous. I heard what she said. She didn't mean it that way. Michael, sit here. I pointed to the bed. He sat, looking like he was 10 years old again. Son, when your father died, I could have asked to live with you. I could have become a burden. But I chose to maintain my independence. The money you insist on sending me every month, I never asked for it. I know, Mom. It's just that we want to help. No, son. You want to feel less guilty for not visiting me, for not calling, for only remembering me when you need something. He lowered his head. It's not like that. Yes, it is. And you know what hurts even more? You treating this money like a bargaining chip, as if I had an obligation to be available because I accepted the help. Mom, I never thought like that. But Jessica does, and you allow it. He remained silent. Outside, Max started barking again. What do you want me to do? He finally asked. I want you to grow up, Michael. I want you to take responsibility for your actions. I want you to treat me with the respect I deserve, not like a maid you pay monthly. I finished packing in silence. Michael left the room devastated. I heard more arguing, Jessica crying, Max barking, a symphony of chaos that I was about to leave behind. It was past midnight when I lay down for the last time on that couch. Tomorrow morning I would return home, to my silence, my peace, my dignity. Max was crying in the bathroom, but this time I didn't get up. It was no longer my responsibility. Do you think I was too harsh, that I should have stayed until they returned? I woke up at 6 in the morning with a determination I hadn't felt in decades. Max was still crying in the bathroom, but the sound no longer affected me. I took a long shower, the first since I had arrived, and dressed myself calmly. When I left the room, Michael was already awake, sitting in the living room with the dog in his lap. Mom, please, Let's talk one more time. There's nothing to talk about, son. My decision is made. Jessica appeared in her pajamas, her eyes swollen. Mrs. Walker, I apologize for what I said yesterday. I was nervous. I understand, Jessica, but words reveal what we really think. That's not true. I respect you. Respect isn't declared, it's demonstrated. And locking me in a stuffy apartment, sleeping on the couch, not being allowed to turn on a fan, isn't respect. I grabbed my purse and headed to the door. Michael jumped up. Mom, wait! Let me call an Uber for you. I already did. Then let me pay. No need. I have my own money. I waited for the car in the lobby. The doorman, Mr. Joe, greeted me with sympathy. Good morning, Mrs. Walker. Going back home? Yes, Joe. Finally. You held out quite a while. That dog cries all night. So the whole building knew about my ordeal. I felt shame and relief at the same time. On the way to Brookline, I watched the city wake up. Boston has this thing. Even in chaos, there's an order of its own, a rhythm that embraces. When the Uber stopped in front of my building, I took a deep breath. I was home. My apartment welcomed me with its blessed silence. I opened all the windows, turned on the fan, prepared a strong coffee. I sat in my favorite armchair and for the first time in days, relaxed. The cell phone didn't stop ringing. Messages from Michael, calls from Jessica, voice notes I didn't want to listen to. I turned off the device. I needed peace. In the afternoon, Martha showed up with an orange cake. I heard you came back. How are you? Free, Martha. I feel free. I told her everything in detail. She listened, nodding her head. You did the right thing, Helen. Sometimes we need to take a stand. But he's my son. Exactly because he's your son. How will he learn if you always give in? That night, I made the hardest decision. I called the bank and canceled the automatic transfer I made every month to Michael's account. $500 that over the years had become an obligation. It wasn't much, but it was what I could give. Now that money would be mine. For my therapy, my medications, my small pleasures. The following days were bombardments. Michael called non-stop. Jessica sent long messages, sometimes apologizing, sometimes accusing me of having abandoned the family. I temporarily blocked both. I needed space to think. On the 5th day, my neighbor from apartment 12B knocked on my door. Helen, there's a young woman downstairs who wants to talk to you. Says she's your daughter-in-law. I went down with a heavy heart. Jessica was in the lobby holding Max on a leash. The dog saw me and started jumping, barking happily. I felt a twinge of tenderness. It wasn't his fault. Mrs. Walker, we need to talk. Right here is fine. She took a deep breath. We came back from the trip early. Michael is devastated. I'm sorry about that. You're not sorry about anything. If you were, you wouldn't have done what you did. Joe, the doorman, pretended to organize some mail, but was clearly listening. Jessica, what exactly did I do? Refuse to be treated like an unpaid maid? You abandoned us. I returned to my home. You two abandoned me on a couch with a dog. That isn't mine. She started crying, tears of anger, not sadness. You don't know how hard it is for us. We work all day, barely have time for each other. Then why did you get a dog? Max keeps us company. And who keeps Max company while you work? She remained silent. The dog continued jumping, wanting my attention. You know what amazes me the most? I continued. You think family love is this, total availability, sacrifice without limits. But a real family is mutual respect. You cut off Michael's allowance. Ah, so that was it. The money, always the money. It wasn't an allowance. It was help that became an obligation. And yes, I cut it off. How can you be so cruel? Cruel? I worked 40 years as a teacher. I raised my son alone. I pay my bills, maintain my home. That money is mine, hard-earned, and I decide how to use it. She raised her voice. Everyone will know what kind of person you are. Some passers-by stopped to look. I felt the heat rise to my face, but kept my calm. What worries me, Jessica, is that one day you might have children, and I wonder how you'll treat them when they need you. She stared at me with pure hatred. You'll regret this. I've regretted many things in life. Setting boundaries is something I'll never regret. She left, pulling Max, who still looked back, whining. I felt sorry for the little animal. But everyone needs to carry their own cross. That night, I discovered that Jessica had posted on social media. She didn't tag me, but mutual friends warned me. Photos of Max with melodramatic captions, abandoned by who should have cared for him. Some people have no heart. Family for what? I didn't respond. I didn't defend myself. I just blocked more contacts and went to sleep, in my bed, with my fan on in peace. The next day, I woke up to a message from Amanda, my niece. Aunt Helen, I saw Jessica's posts. How horrible. You want me to respond? No, dear. Silence is the best answer. But Aunt, she's defaming you. Let her talk. Those who know me know who I am. But the truth is that it hurt. It hurt to see my image distorted, my story retold from another perspective. I started receiving messages from unknown numbers, people I didn't even know who they were, judging me, calling me a selfish old woman, unnatural grandmother. A week later, Michael appeared, alone. He looked like he had aged 10 years. Mom, can we talk? I hesitated but let him in. We sat in the living room, the same place where he had played so many times as a child. I broke up with Jessica. The news caught me by surprise. What? Why? It wasn't just because of this, Mom. I had been noticing things, but the way she treated you, how she talked about you afterward, made me see who she really is. Son, I don't want to be the reason. You're not the reason. You made me open my eyes. I let her transform me into someone else, someone I don't recognize. He was crying now. My boy, my grown man, crying like when he fell off his bicycle. And Max? She took him. He was actually hers, for her Instagram. I just paid the bills. We sat in silence. Outside, Boston pulsed. Its usual life. Mom, do you forgive me? I already have, son. But forgiving doesn't mean forgetting. It doesn't mean going back to how things were before. I understand. Can I start coming over for Sunday lunch again? You can, but with one condition. What? Respect, always. He agreed. He left lighter, but I knew the wound would still take time to heal. Relationships are like that. Easy to break, difficult to rebuild. And you? Do you think I overreacted by cutting off the money? That I should have overlooked everything in the name of family? 6 months have passed since that morning when I left Michael's apartment. 6 months that changed everything. Today, as I water my orchids on the balcony of my apartment in Brookline, I think about how life sometimes needs to shake us to wake us up. The first Sundays were strange. Michael would come for lunch. We would eat in awkward silence, superficial conversations about the weather, traffic, work. But gradually, we found each other again. Not as the mother who does everything and the son who receives, but as two adults who choose to be together. Mom, I'm thinking about adopting a cat, he told me last Sunday, while helping wash the dishes. Cats are more independent, I replied, drying the plates. Yes, I learned that I don't have the structure for a dog. At least not now. I smiled. My son was learning about boundaries, about real responsibility. With the money I stopped sending him, I started doing things I had postponed for years. I enrolled in a ceramics course at the community center in Cambridge. I always wanted to learn, but never had extra money. Now, every Thursday, my hands dive into clay and create shapes that only existed in my imagination. Mrs. Walker is the most dedicated student, the teacher said the other day. Her pieces have soul, perhaps because I'm finally putting into it what is mine, not what others expect of me. I also started traveling. Small trips, nothing extravagant. A weekend in the Berkshires, a week in Portland, Maine, 3 days. In Vermont during the fall foliage. I travel alone, at my own pace, stopping where I want, eating what I fancy. It was on one of these trips, to Newport, Rhode Island, that an unexpected encounter happened. I was having breakfast at the hotel when I heard a familiar voice. Mrs. Walker. It was Jessica, thinner, different hair, without Max. I hesitated, but years of good manners spoke louder. Hello, Jessica. May I sit for a minute? I agreed. She sat awkwardly, fidgeting with her napkin. I owe you an apology. You don't owe me anything. What's past is past. No, please, let me speak. She took a deep breath. Michael was right. I treated you badly, very badly. I thought that's what mothers-in-law were for, someone to help, to be available. My mother was always submissive to my father, my grandmothers, too. I thought it was normal. And what changed? Max ran away last month. I spent 3 days looking for him, putting up posters, crying. When I found him, dirty and thin, I realized how irresponsible I had been, how I put on others' shoulders a decision that was mine. I remained silent, drinking my coffee. I moved back to my parents' house. I'm rethinking everything. And I wanted to say that you were right, about everything. Jessica, I didn't do that to be right. I did it to survive. She nodded, her eyes teary. I understand now. I'm truly sorry. I accept your apology. She stood up, hesitated, then said, Michael is much better without me, lighter, more himself. And you? I'm learning about myself, about what I want to be. Maybe one day I'll deserve a real family. I watched her walk away and felt an unexpected wave of compassion. We're all learning, each at our own pace. Today, my life has a new routine. I wake up early, take my walk through Coolidge Corner, return home, and prepare my coffee without rushing. On Thursdays, ceramics. On Tuesdays, I meet with the reading group at the library. On weekends, sometimes I travel, sometimes I stay home enjoying the silence. Michael calls me every Wednesday. Just to hear your voice, Mom. He comes for lunch on Sundays, always bringing something. Flowers, a sweet he knows I like, a book he thought I'd enjoy. We no longer need money to connect us. We have something more valuable, mutual respect. Last week, he arrived with news. Mom, I met someone. Really? What's she like? She's a veterinarian. Her name is Olivia. Very independent, lives alone, has her life organized. She sounds interesting. She really wants to meet you, but only when you feel comfortable. I smiled. When you think it's the right time, it will be a pleasure. He held my hand. Mom, thank you for everything, especially for teaching me about boundaries. It took me 71 years to learn, son. You're learning at 35. That's progress. We laughed together. A light laugh without weight, without demands. At night when I lie in my bed, always with the fan on, even in winter, I think about the path I've traveled. The woman I was, too submissive and available, and the woman I am today. I didn't become a hard or insensitive person. I just learned that self-love isn't selfishness, it's necessity. My therapist, Dr. Morgan, yes, I started therapy at 71, told me something I keep in my heart. Helen, you didn't abandon anyone. You chose yourself. And that's revolutionary for women of your generation. Sometimes I still see Jessica's posts on social media. Max grew up. He's huge and beautiful. She seems to be doing well, rebuilding her life. I don't hold a grudge. Everyone has their own learning time. My friend Martha always jokes, Helen, you've become an inspiration here in the building. All the you ladies talk about Mrs. Walker's revolution. I laugh. Revolution? Maybe. Or just a woman who decided she deserved to live in peace in the years she has left. Today, as I shape a new vase in ceramics class, I think about this entire journey. Hands in clay, creating something from nothing, remind me that it's always time to start over, to reinvent oneself, to choose oneself. My phone rings. It's Michael. Mom, Olivia asked if you'd like to have lunch with us on Sunday. No pressure. Tell her it will be a pleasure. I'll make that artichoke pie you love. She's vegetarian, Mom. Then I'll make spinach. I'm looking forward to meeting her. I hang up smiling. Life goes on with its surprises, its challenges, its unexpected joys. But now I choose how to participate in it, without imposed obligations, without unnecessary guilt. Just love, the kind that liberates, not imprisons. I look out the window of the ceramics room. Boston is beautiful today, even with its usual pollution. Or maybe I'm seeing beauty where before I only saw obligation. A classmate approaches. Helen, your piece is beautiful. How do you make it so symmetrical? Patience, dear, and the awareness that if it gets crooked, I can smash it and start over. She laughs. Starting over, it must be good to be able to do that. It's great. And you? Know what's best? It's never too late to learn. I return home in the late afternoon. The apartment welcomes me with its friendly silence. I prepare tea, sit on the balcony, watch the city light up. Life that goes on with or without our permission. My cell phone vibrates. A message from an unknown number. Mrs. Walker, I'm Jessica's sister-in-law. She told me your story. I'm going through something similar with my in-laws. Could we talk? I smile. The silent revolution continues. I respond, of course. Boundaries aren't walls, they're doors. We need to learn when to open them and when to keep them closed. Call me whenever you want. I put away my phone. Tomorrow is Friday. Day for water aerobics at the club, lunch with friends, cinema in the afternoon if I feel like it. Or maybe I'll stay home, reading, enjoying the right to do nothing. Because I also learned this. Freedom isn't just in saying no to others. It's in saying yes to ourselves. Thank you for making it to the end. If this story touched you in some way, share it with someone who needs to hear about boundaries, dignity, and the courage to start over. Because no matter the age, it's always time to choose yourself.